There is a specific kind of pain that does not have a loud name. It is not the pain of a dramatic betrayal. It is not a public humiliation. It does not happen in a single moment that everyone can point to. It is the pain of watching someone take what you built, put their name on it, and get rewarded for it, while you sit there, quietly, knowing exactly what happened, and knowing that if you say anything, you will be the one who looks difficult. Today's story is about a woman named Priya Anand, and the 2 years she spent saying nothing. Not because she was weak, not because she didn't know what had been done to her, but because she was building something, carefully, deliberately, in complete silence. And when she finally moved, there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. Stay with me, because this story is about something most people have felt, but very few have ever talked about out loud. Priya Anand was 28 years old when she joined a mid-sized technology company called Vantage Systems, based in Atlanta, Georgia, around 350 employees, software solutions for enterprise clients, the kind of company that was not quite a startup anymore, but was still young enough to feel like things were moving fast. She joined as a product development specialist. Her background was in user experience research and product strategy. She had spent 4 years at a smaller firm before this, doing work she was proud of but in an environment too small to grow in. Vantage felt different. It felt like the right scale, the right moment. Her direct manager was a man named Todd Garrett, Senior Director of Product, 39 years old, 12 years at the company, the kind of person who was excellent at being in the room when decisions were made, and slightly less excellent at the work that led to those decisions. Priya noticed this within her first 3 months, not with judgment, just with clarity. Todd was a skilled political operator. He knew how to manage up, how to present well, how to make the people above him feel confident. What he was less comfortable with was the actual complexity of product development, the research, the iteration, the willingness to sit with uncertainty before arriving at a solution. That part he left to his team. That part, increasingly, he left to Priya. 8 months into her time at Vantage, Priya was given a project that would change everything. The company was preparing to launch a new product line targeting mid-size healthcare organizations. The existing product had been adapted from their enterprise suite, and the results had been disappointing. Clients were churning. The product didn't fit the actual workflows of the healthcare teams using it. Priya was asked to lead the research phase, to go out and understand why the product was failing and what needed to change. She spent 11 weeks on it. She conducted 43 user interviews across 7 client organizations. She observed actual clinical and administrative workflows in 4 different facilities. She built a research synthesis document that was 62 pages long and identified 7 core friction points that no one at the company had previously documented. Then, she built a product framework, a complete strategic roadmap for how to rebuild the healthcare product from the ground up, based on everything the research had revealed. She called it the Clarity Framework, because the research had made something that was previously invisible, visible. She presented it to Todd in a one-on-one meeting on a Wednesday afternoon, just the two of them. She walked him through every section. He asked good questions. He seemed genuinely engaged. At the end of the meeting, he told her the work was exceptional and that he was going to bring it to the executive team. Priya left that meeting feeling something she had not felt in a long time at work. Seen. She felt seen. That feeling lasted exactly 18 days. On a Thursday morning, 18 days later, Todd presented to the executive team. Priya was not in the room. She had not been told the presentation was happening that day. She found out through a colleague who passed her in the hallway afterward and said, "Hey, did you see Todd's presentation this morning? That framework he built for the healthcare product is incredible." Priya stopped walking. She asked her colleague to repeat what they had said. That framework he built. She went back to her desk. She pulled up her email. Nothing from Todd. Nothing from anyone in the executive team. She checked the shared drive, where she had uploaded her original documents. The Clarity Framework file was there. Last accessed 2 days ago by Todd Garrett. She sat very still for a long moment. Then she opened a new folder on her personal drive. She copied every document, every interview transcript, every research note, every version of the framework with its original timestamps. She organized it carefully. She labeled the folder with the date and a single word: evidence. Then, she closed her laptop, picked up her coffee, and went for a 10-minute walk around the block. When she came back, she sat down and made a decision that would define the next 2 years of her professional life. She decided not to say anything. Not yet. Before I tell you why, I want to ask you something. If you have ever had someone take credit for your work and felt completely alone in that moment, this channel was built for you. Hit subscribe right now. Served Cold is where we tell the stories nobody else is brave enough to tell. Real people, real betrayals, real outcomes, new episodes every single week. Don't miss what's coming. Now back to Priya. The reason Priya stayed silent was not passivity, it was strategy. She had watched enough workplace situations play out to understand a fundamental truth about credit theft in professional environments. The person who complains, even when they are completely right, almost always loses, not because the organization doesn't care about fairness, but because organizations are built to avoid conflict, and the person raising the complaint is the source of the conflict, regardless of who started it. If she walked into HR and said Todd stole my work, she would need to prove it in a way that was airtight. And even if she could prove it, the likely outcome was that she would be labeled difficult, political, or a problem employee. Todd had 12 years at the company, she had 8 months. She knew how that math worked. So she made a different calculation. She decided to stay, to keep performing at the same level, to document everything going forward with obsessive precision, and to wait for the moment when the value of what she could do would become impossible for the organization to route around her. That moment, she believed, would come. She just needed to be patient enough to reach it. 2 years is a long time to be patient. In the weeks after the presentation, Todd received significant praise from the executive team for the Clarity framework. There was talk of fast-tracking its implementation. The VP of Product, a woman named Sandra Okafor, made a point of telling Todd in a company-wide email that his work on the healthcare product strategy represented exactly the kind of thinking Vantage needed more of. Priya read that email. She filed it. She did not respond to it. She sent Todd a brief congratulatory note, professional and warm, and went back to work. What happened next was both predictable and revealing. Todd, having received credit for something he did not build, now needed to demonstrate that he could continue producing at that level. And the pressure of that expectation, combined with his actual limitations, began to show. The implementation of the Clarity framework hit problems almost immediately. The executive team wanted updates. They wanted refinements. They wanted someone to answer detailed questions about the research behind the decisions. Todd could not answer those questions, because he had not done the research. He came to Priya, quietly, framing it as collaboration, asking her to join certain meetings, to prepare certain documents, to brief him before presentation so he could speak to the detail. Priya said yes, every time, without complaint, without sarcasm, without any visible awareness of the irony. She attended those meetings, she prepared those documents, she briefed him thoroughly, and every single time, she made sure that someone in the room saw her doing it. Not loudly, not performatively, just visibly. An email copied to Sandra Okafor's team. A follow-up note sent directly from her inbox. A question answered in a meeting before Todd could redirect it. Slowly, quietly, she was making sure that the people who mattered understood where the actual thinking was coming from. It took 14 months before the first significant shift happened. Sandra Okafor requested a direct briefing on the healthcare product implementation. She wanted to understand why certain milestones were slipping, and what the path forward looked like. Todd scheduled the meeting and included Priya. He intended to lead it, with Priya available to fill in technical details as needed. What he had not anticipated was that Sandra had done her homework. In the 2 weeks before the meeting, Sandra had spoken individually with 3 members of the product team. She had asked each of them a simple question. Who is the person on this team you would go to if you had a hard problem to solve? All 3 of them had said the same name. Priya. Sandra walked into that briefing with that information already in hand. She listened to Todd's opening remarks for about 4 minutes. Then she turned to Priya and said, Priya, walk me through the original research that drove the framework. I want to hear the thinking behind the decisions, not just the decisions. Todd had no graceful way to redirect. Priya walked Sandra through the research. All of it. From memory, with precision, with the kind of depth that only comes from having done the work yourself. The meeting ran 40 minutes over its scheduled time, because Sandra kept asking questions. At the end of it, Sandra looked at Priya and said, "I would like to set up a standing monthly with you directly. I want to stay close to the product thinking on this account. A standing monthly, with the VP of product, directly, not through Todd." Priya thanked her, said she would send a calendar invite, and did not look at Todd once on the way out of the room. What followed over the next 8 months was a quiet but complete restructuring of how Priya operated within the company. The standing monthly with Sandra became a genuine working relationship. Priya began presenting directly to the executive team on product strategy. Her name started appearing on documents that went to the board. Todd remained her nominal manager, but the actual flow of influence had inverted completely. He was now, in practice, a pass-through layer between Priya and the people who made decisions. Everyone in the organization could see it. Nobody said it out loud, but everyone could see it. In month 19, Vantage posted an internal opening for a newly created role: Director of Product Strategy, Healthcare Division. The role had not existed before. It was, in structure and scope, built around exactly the kind of work Priya had been doing for the past 2 years. Sandra called Priya before the posting went live. She told her the role was being created and that she wanted Priya to apply. She told her that based on the past year of working together, she was the obvious candidate, and that Sandra would be advocating for her directly. Priya thanked her. She said she would apply. She asked one question before ending the call. She asked who else would be involved in the hiring decision. Sandra said the final call would go through the executive team, including the CEO. Priya said she understood. She thanked Sandra again, and hung up. Then she opened the folder on her personal drive, the one labeled Evidence, the one she had been building for 23 months. She reviewed its contents carefully, not because she planned to use it aggressively, but because she wanted to know exactly what she had, in case she needed it. She had 43 original interview transcripts with timestamps. She had 62 pages of research synthesis with her name and the original creation, dates embedded in the document metadata. She had email threads showing her presenting the framework to Todd. She had the calendar invite for the original one-on-one meeting. She had every iteration of the framework, timestamped showing the full development history. She had 2 years of her own work, documented with a precision that left no room for alternative interpretations. She closed the folder, she sent in her application, and she waited. The hiring process took 6 weeks. Priya was interviewed 3 times, by Sandra, by the CEO, and by a panel that included 2 other members of the executive team. In the 3rd interview, the CEO asked her a direct question. He said, "The Clarity framework was presented to us initially as work led by your manager at the time. Help me understand your role in that project." Priya had thought about this question for a long time. She had rehearsed several versions of the answer. The one she gave was calm, factual, and precise. She described the research process in specific detail. She described the 11 weeks, the 43 interviews, the 7 friction points, the development of the framework from scratch. She described the one-on-one meeting where she had presented it to Todd. She offered to share the original timestamp documentation if it would be helpful for the committee's evaluation. She did not accuse Todd of anything. She did not use the word stolen. She did not express anger or bitterness or grievance. She simply told the truth about what she had done, in enough detail that the truth was self-evident. The CEO listened to all of it, without interrupting. At the end he said, "Thank you. That is very helpful context." 2 weeks later, Priya was offered the Director of Product Strategy role. The offer included a 64% salary increase from her current position. She accepted it the same day. Todd Garrett was informed of Priya's promotion by Sandra Okafor in a private meeting. He was also informed in the same meeting that a structural reorganization would mean Priya's new role would sit outside his reporting line entirely. He would no longer be her manager. Priya found out about that meeting through Sandra, who told her afterward as a courtesy. Sandra did not editorialize, she simply relayed the information. Priya thanked her, said she was looking forward to the new role, and went back to her desk. She opened the evidence folder one final time, she selected all of its contents, and she deleted it. She did not need it anymore. I have thought about what Priya's story teaches us, and I think it teaches us something that is genuinely hard to accept. Sometimes the correct response to injustice is not to fight it directly. Sometimes the correct response is to outlast it, not because the injustice is acceptable. It is not. What Todd did was wrong. Taking someone's work and presenting it as your own is a specific and serious betrayal of trust, and Priya had every right to be furious about it. But Priya understood something that most of us, in that moment of fury, find almost impossible to see. She understood that the organization could not ignore excellence forever, that if she kept doing the work and kept making sure the right people could see the work, eventually the truth would become visible on its own terms, without her having to fight for it. She understood that patience, in that specific environment, was not weakness. It was the sharpest tool she had, and she used it with a precision that 2 years later produced an outcome that no confrontation, no HR complaint, no dramatic moment of public accusation could have delivered. She didn't just get credit for her work, she got a title, a 64% raise, and a direct line to the people who run the company. Todd got a reorganization, and somewhere in the evidence folder she spent 2 years carefully building and then quietly deleted, was the entire story of how it happened. 2 years of silence, one perfect move. Her name was Priya, and she didn't say a word until it was time. That is the story for today. If Priya's story resonated with you, if you have ever done the work and watched someone else get the credit, share this with someone who needs to hear that the long game is worth playing. And if you are not subscribed yet, do it right now. Hit the button and ring the bell. Every week on Served Cold, we bring you stories about people who chose patience over reaction and precision over drama. People who understood that the most satisfying outcomes are rarely the loudest ones. Patience is a strategy. Documentation is power. And silence, when used correctly, is the most devastating response of all. This is Served Cold, and we are just getting started.